Tosheka in Swahili means satisfaction. Satisfaction guaranteed as a consumer. And we have a women's empowerment program, and we are what's called, as a business, we're an LLC, and we're a social enterprise. And a social enterprise is a company that does well by doing good.
Okay, give us an example of that, because you did
certainly
one thing with was plastic.
Well,
so.
yeah. I mean, well, one, we're a green textile organization. That is to say that we use natural dyes, we use low-impact chemicals, et cetera, to not
natural fibers.
Right. To basically support the environment and support people from not getting cancer and other craziness. One thing many people don't understand or don't know is that textiles is one of the most highly polluting industries. You know, people think it's just oil and gas and whatever, but no, textiles are a hugely polluting industry. Also, so we work with women's groups in Kenya and have trained them to be able to be producers of high fashion, world-class textiles. We do everything from carpet to clothing, and this is something. This was all self-generated in terms of as a business, meaning we didn't have all the expertise going in like no one does, but we did the work and the research, and the ancestors brought us the people we needed to give us the wise counsel and guidance. And now we have our own knitting company that's producing, you know, wonderful sweaters that people in the U.S. want, and we just have prototypes here at this moment. And we also produce bags from recycled plastic, shopping bags, and taking that on a world-class level, such that anthropology and other majors have bought them. We're now working with silk. We brought in silk as a new type of fiber.
Yeah. Now explain that, because you brought in the worms. You didn't bring in.
Yeah, I should clarify. Yeah, I was going to get to that. Well, okay, what actually happened, my wife, we were working with cotton. And the cotton quality, ultimately, in the environment we were working was very poor. So we actually did the research and introduced the community to growing organic cotton. And that went really well. So then we thought after that went really well, and the farmers were really happy with the income and the whole bit, and the yield, we thought that the government would come on board and support it. Well, of course, governments nowhere do much of nothing for anybody. I mean, any people.
Now, keep in mind that you're in an environment that most people don't know. Kenya was one of the main African nations that kept out GMO seeds and crops, so you were able. That was one battle you didn't have to fight too tough.
That's true. That's true. Thank goodness. And they're now banning plastic, which is a good move. So then, my wife then considered, said, hey, look, why don't we need to now look towards another fiber. I'm like, let's make sure first that the government really understands cotton, which they never did. Well, I say never did in terms of really support the people to develop it. So she said, let's look at silk. She said, I said, baby, what you know about silk? Nothing. I said, okay, here we go again. So, but baby did the research. I mean, and to bring a new insect species into a country is like bringing in a nuclear weapon. Because it could be a nuclear weapon, meaning to the crops, meaning it could devastate crops.
And the soil too.
Soil could cause people to have famine. It could, but we knew it wouldn't, but we had to prove it. And we were able to prove it, and then got the only now licensing, I think, in East Africa to commercialize Erie silk. We're now doing that. And one of the reasons we also did it, beyond just another fiber, it's a fiber that can be developed on a monthly basis, which gives monthly income to people who need monthly income.
As opposed to crops that you
like cotton,
only can work so many months out of the year.
Exactly, like cotton, where you can get, you know, maybe 6 months. You know, have to wait 6 months for a crop to bloom. You know, to bloom. So that was one reason, and then the other reason we did the silk one is a high value crop in terms of the finished product, and so the margins are much better. People can get paid more. And then we like silk because it has great natural cloth. Like when it's cold, it tends to give you great warmth, even though it's not a heavy textile. And when it's hot, it'll keep you cool. So silk has a lot of benefits. And the particular type of silk we used, Erie silk, was special. One other major item about Erie silk is that it's a monofilm. It's not a monofilament. It's the fiber is like cotton fiber, so it's easily spun, and that's really
now
helpful.
when you talk about that, you're talking about a lot of the women.
Right.
When you first started,
yes.
You didn't have an industrial mill. You
exactly.
had the sisters there,
right.
Doing on their own looms and
exactly. Well,
weaving.
Right, exactly.
Machines.
And then we had taught them how to weave and how to produce the yarn on the spinning wheels and the whole bit. And in teaching them, they just took it and ran with it. Our folks are so genius, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you don't even want to get in the neighborhood to show them anything because they just took it and run with it. It just makes you so proud. The last thing, I guess, it's a dry land silk. That is, where we are located, it's a dry area of the country, so it's tough on raising cotton, and so because cotton requires a lot of water, whereas for the silk it lives off of a plant called the custard plant. It's a wild bush, and so and a custard plant lives all year round. So it gave us something that people could thrive and live off of all year, and made us less dependent on environment and rain and so.
One of the things that in my conversations with Lucy, she's more focused on organic and natural.
Yes.
She's not really into this quote unquote synthetic stuff.
Exactly.
So how are you making that marketable, given we live in a synthetic culture and environment that's rolling out more and more?
That's true. Well, that's just it. People. What's made us really special in the market is creativity. What we do, we take certain fibers and fabrics and things, and the way we mix them, and the designs of our handbags, etc., just knock people out. And people want originality. People are tired of the disposable, nylon stuff that you wear 4 times and it's stretched out and it's like, oh God, what the hell? People want breathable fabric,
quality fabric,
and they want quality, and they can tell the difference. Even young people, which kind of surprised me, like with some of my handbags and stuff that I've designed, I would do a show, and these young sisters would come over like, oh, I love this, and I was like, oh my goodness, really? Because a lot of our bags are more designed towards what do you call it, middle-aged women, and one would suspect, but they were like on it.
But what about your the bags? Because people can see your products on the channel, on my Vimeo channel and the YouTube channel. So there are whole films, videos dedicated to Tosheka. You and Lucy and Lucy and all that. So they can see that.
Yes.
The most recent one was about your bags, your business bags.
Yes.
So they can see that because that was the most recent one we did about a year or so ago.
Yes.
Now, how can people find out more about Tosheka? Give us your website, because you are doing
absolutely
e-commerce on the website. People can buy the products on the website. So give us your website.
Absolutely. New website, same name. It's
spell that. So
www.toshekadesigns.com. That's TOSHEKA designs.com.
Okay. And they can look at the products.
Oh yes.
And they purchase that
online. They can purchase right online.
Okay, so it's like PayPal and
all cards.
And all cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So now here you come with something brand new, spanking new, that really is very practical, but it seems a little different from what you've been doing, because you've been talking about land, crops, products, natural things. Now you're into the technology with automobiles. So how did you leap from that to this?
For me, it's not a leap. I tell you what really happened. Well, one, I was born in a garage. My father in the 40s. So when I grew up, I spent more time with my father in the garage than I did with my mother.
Okay.
I didn't even, I tease and say sometimes I didn't even get to beat my mother until I was 10, because I was underneath my father's feet for the first 9 years of my life. And then, so that's one, I guess. Then two, in Kenya, it really made me realize something I never understood and saw before. I saw some horrific accidents. I saw one accident in which we got out of the car and there was like 13 people's bodies strewn all over the highway, dead. And there was 2 people alive. We took those 2 people, put them in the back of our vehicle, and drove them for an hour and a half. And it was a shocking experience. I mean, and then to see how often this was happening. You know, like for example, if you go on the United States website, or what they call it, the U.S. whatever website about travel, what they will, in terms of travel advisories, what are the things they warn you about when you're traveling abroad in general, and traveling, let's say, you know, in India, Africa, whatever, places with large populations.
So you're talking about traveling to the urban areas and
stuff? These urban areas, right. That one thing they warn you about is, they said one of the most likely things in terms of accidents and death is on the roadways. And actually walking on the roadways.